Humanity has experienced little. Up, and then it was like, I want to say it was like 1900. Question mark. Internet out. So, isn't it amazing? These streams really make it feel like my internet never works. Okay, let's see. Are we back? Broadcast started once again. Okay, great. So it's again going to be separated in at least 3 separate layers. Alright, fucking great. Okay, hold on. Hello. Hello. I've been muted, I've been kicked, and everything has been blicked and bipped. He back. You may not believe it, but I actually never left. You left. Oh my god. Okay, yeah, so paying for internet really is a dang crapshoot. We'll have to disagree. Well, it's okay that we disagree, as long as I'm correct. Can this truly be the cream of the crop of the mountain of the samurai of Doma? Some few automata, but only by way of warning, and have come to this, and savagery and methods of governance and prove effective. The sooner we begin to make amends for this senseless destruction, the better. Securing supplies and support for the reconstruction should prove difficult once our nation should not prove difficult once our nation. Yes, of course. If you would have a better view of... Yeah, so what happened was essentially my internet just dropped out and pooped for a few seconds. Again, it's the second time it has happened today, and the second stream that it has happened. So I am going to be calling the internet providers again. They said they would send someone to take a look at it, and again, I'm just gonna have to tell them, hey, the thing happened again. I am their most active customer. Great. I mean, maybe I wouldn't have to be such a goddamn active customer if their shit worked. Yes, of course, if you would have a better view of what remains of the castle, we must proceed through the ruins. Okay, so for those of you who may not be well versed in MMOs, right? So, this is the world map. Yeah, make it their problem. That is what I'm doing. So this is the world map, right? We started with Lenoskia, Thanalan, the Black Shroud, and Mordona. I don't think Coerthas... No. Yes. Yes. This area was part of the original expansion, I believe. So, these are the areas that you could go in the first expansion, when the game first came out. Then in the... No, sorry, not the first. In Vanilla. In A Realm Reborn, as it's called. So, throughout these areas, you could, like, travel and do your quests and so on and so forth. And then, in the first expansion, Coerthas was expanded to include Ishgard and this area. And as well as Dravania and Abeles Spire. We're just ignoring whatever's going on behind us. And in this expansion, Gyabania and Othard was also added. And the thing about this, right, is as an outsider, or as a developer, or as a player, what you love seeing is the ability to discover new areas. To look upon this area and say, dang, this place looks cool, I'm so happy I got to have an adventure in this area. But this is an MMO, right? And in MMOs, it's supposed to be a massively multiplayer online game. But the thing that happens when you make these, and it's going to sound painfully obvious to some of you, all of the ones who know about MMOs. But Dravania, Othard, and Girabania, they are fairly abandoned, right? So people don't go there as much. They have nothing to really come back for, because they've already completed the quest. They've completed their adventure in the area. And so instead of, at least the starting cities are still active. Yeah. So like Uldar, Lemsalominsa, and New Gridania. Those are still active. And sometimes, like, Ishgard is still kind of active, and because people are weeps, Kugane is still somewhat active. I don't know anything about the future expansions, of course, but cities are like places to gather, so I imagine you have reason to go there fairly often. Why did you have to look that up? Gridania is the best one? Yeah. So the thing is, the Dravania area, and especially this area, you rarely see people, because once you've completed your adventure, you have no real reason to go back to that place. And it is a damn shame, because all of this development stuff was important for one expansion, and you don't... And it means for me, who is now going through it, there are no other players here. I mean, not that I'd interact with them either way, because I am a real loner. I hate interacting with people. But it feels less alive. People aren't really running around and doing as much stuff in the world. And one of the reasons also is, yeah, they haven't implemented any features for wanting to go back. Because even though it might be like an easy implementation compared to making a new zone and a new area, it's a lot of work for very little. Because then people would also want to return for some optional content. My general issue with this multiplayer game, and feel free to disagree all that you want, but the main general issue I find with this game is that you're not really forced to interact with other people at any point. At least I haven't yet, and I've finished 2 expansions and vanilla. You can go into dungeons and you can just face roll across the entire dungeon and you'll probably be fine. I've been trying to pay attention, but I'm still dumb as bricks, and I don't understand half of the mechanics, and I fail them, but we still get through all of the dungeons. Of course, I also play with friends, and the friends are quite good at the game. And it's generally not what the high-level players want. Okay, I'm going to say one of the absolutely worst things that I could. Something that has been echoed by... Yeah, content for old areas is a good way to mix new and veteran players. Yes, in theory. But they also have to have a reason for interacting inside that area, right? Either way. We can get back to that once. I forgot what I was about to say. Area, reason to go back, reason to interact. Was it that? No. Yeah. Okay, well, I forgot. So it's fine. If I truly love the thought, it will come back to me. Yeah, there's... yeah, so I play with play with my pals a bunch. He forgot. Yeah. I thought, but I forgot, therefore I was. It was probably said by some philosopher. Renee or something. So... Yeah. Renee Descartes. Yeah, so I don't see much reason to interact with people because I can kind of face roll my way through the dungeons. And there's no actual points of interaction where it makes sense. I've played some higher level content using Duty Finder and that is a little more social, but only a little. That sounds sad. Of course you can seek out all of the social stuff that you want, but what we're really lacking are some proper events, I think. I've heard tale of interesting. I've heard tale of hunt trains. Oh, extremes and such. Yeah. And a hunt train is like when someone has to go out and kill a specific or particular enemy, and then a lot of people begin following that person, and then they kill a bunch of like a high-end mobs together, and that's like a fun thing to follow along and then kill big tough enemies. I tried a world boss once in Guild Wars 2. It was a nice experience. You got to like talk to a few people because I went in and I was like, what are everyone doing? And they're like, oh, we're waiting for Bleepenbloppen. And I'm like, what the heck is a Bleepenbloppen? And he was like, oh, it's a WB. And I'm like, what is a WB? Oh, sorry, I'm new at this. What's going on? And he was like, no, it's a world boss thing. So like we gather a bunch of people. It was like a cute experience where I could talk to like a veteran player properly and got introduced to some mechanics. Guild Wars 2 kind of have the same problem that it doesn't feel like I get to or that I'm forced to interact with people in the same way that with that with Final Fantasy 14. I really want you to try some field exploration. We'll get to it when we get to it. So yeah, those forced interactions. You know, I just had a thought about it because I saw a video on interior design today that one of my friends sent me, and it was like one of the parts was, oh, but they have a lot of flaws, each different for the different expansions. Probably fine. So yeah, I watched the video on interior design, and one of the design aspects that was mentioned was there's something called a command position in a room. Let's see if we can find an empty area. Okay, so say this is a room, right? This square that we're currently looking at. You would enter from here, and then your travel paths are around this way and around that way. And you wouldn't want to go through, you wouldn't want to essentially block one of the pathways with a building, because then you would have to go through the building and then you would disturb whoever's inside the building or around the building or whatever. The example given was with a couch. So if you have like a chair here and a couch here, people would have to go through the area with the couch, but instead you want to design it in a way such that you have to go, or that you can easily go around. I think that is what I have dubbed the hallway problem. Because when you have a hallway, what you do is you remove interactions, spontaneity, and friction. Crucially, you remove friction from your life. And that sounds on paper like a positive. But I love that friction. I love that spontaneity that appears when you are forced to do something that is just kind of annoying. But it could potentially lead to some positives. And that, like, that is like, for example, the duty finder. So we in Final Fantasy XIV, there's something called the duty finder, where you just go into the duty, and is it you for duty, and then you just click this, and then you click join, and then you just wait for the queue to pop, and you play in a dungeon somewhere. But you don't have to go to the dungeon. It's essentially a queuing system to help people level or to help people get through dungeons that they haven't gone through before. And I respect it, and I see it as a neat thing that you can do to like help other people, and in a fairly frictionless manner that still means that people get the help that they want or need, because you're incentivized to do it as a high level player as well, because you get a bonus amount of experience and so on and so forth. But in World of Warcraft, that's going to be my example here, because that's still the MMO that I've played the most. You had to, in the before times, look, damn, it just went into the water and drowned, damn. You had to go to a place to meet people and talk to people and be like, hello, I am trying to run dead mines, can I get some help? It took way longer, but what it meant was you were forced to talk to people. And it is super annoying, and it's so nice to have the duty finder. It's such a quality of life improvement, but that quality of life improvement does come with some trade-offs. And it's fine if you think those trade-offs are worth it, because maybe they are, but you have to look at the positives, what you're removing when you make that quality of life change. And you need to find a way to replace it with something else, because an MMO in some places or in some certain fashion is like a digital third space. It's a place where you can go and hang out with people. Yeah, that was my rant on it. And I'm sure those people who have played a lot of MMOs have heard the same thoughts to death tons and tons of times. It helps keep more content alive, allowing new players to actually play the start of the game. Yes. But it feels like, how do you say? It feels like a band-aid solution. Because you could, in theory, do the same thing, but force people to go to a specific location to do the thing. Personally, I would love to have more cross-free company interaction. Oh yeah, so imagine having two companies have a meetup. That would be neat. Because then even though you're in your own free company, and you have like, that is a guild, by the by. Something that ties the housing area together. Also that, yeah. So you could have like a battle to the death in a housing area, where one housing area fights another housing area. As a spitballing of an idea. Or a jumping puzzle thing. Or what was that game? Like Fall Guys. Just have a big old Fall Guys tournament, but between free companies. But then you have like a homeowner PvP. Exactly. By the way, I would like to inform you that in the middle of homeowner there's a meow, so it's a home meowner. Just FYI, if you ever have trouble reading that word again, I'm sorry, not sorry. But yeah, for free companies is one way to do it. But like, I think there should be more things that require communication. Honor, Honer, actually. A Honer plus meow. Yeah, exactly. It's a... there is a very specific... We found it. It's called substring. In JavaScript, there is a function called substring that you can call on strings to create that word. Ha, that's a funny for very few people to enjoy. Yeah. But that is an example of how you could create some interaction. There was another one that we talked about. That would be like essentially forcing a hunt train by creating a world boss. So imagine if okay, bring out your best Lisan Al-Gaib. This place is a big old desert, right? Imagine if in Alamigo you could buy, or Little Alamigo, you could buy a hunt target thing, and then everyone in Uldar would be informed that in 15 minutes in the Sagoli desert, around the oasis, a big sandworm spawns. And this sandworm scales based on the amount of people that are fighting it. So it becomes stronger the more people, but it also gives better rewards the more people there are, and everyone gets a share in the rewards, so like you are incentivized to join with as many people as possible. And then the person who bought the thing will then know where it spawns the next time. So everyone looks to one person for guidance, and then that person rides to the next spot, and everyone follows this big massive throng to go and like, because when you beat the sandworm here, it flees, and then you have to beat it again, and then it flees, and then you have to follow it around the desert. Then you can have like a big travel-based epic boss fight like this. And that would create some interaction without communication. And then, you're lacking the last bit, the last crucial element, which is I also really want some forced communication between players. And that would be through like strategies and planning and that sort of stuff. Of course, a lot of times you could communicate without writing, and that is fine for most of it, but I like the idea of being able to, because you communicate with other people, you get to meet more people, and then you get to expand your friend circles. Currently, I haven't expanded my friend circles whatsoever while I've been playing this. One of my friends has, but he also left the game to, he stopped playing it. Problem is that these things just get optimized and written into wikis. Local voice chat with a random raid group. Maybe. That would have to be an opt-in system, I think. A lot of people are not fans of... Oh no. Oh. Sorry, I ran over a cord. Hold on. Some people are not fans of being in a voice chat, which is fair. I have made multiple friends during my time in this game. Well, good for you, Adam. I have made none. And I made none during World of Warcraft also. So I did talk to random strangers every once in a while. And I met some people, right? And it is way more a me issue. Like, I could just be more social. But I really don't find any motivation to be social. So I don't... Oh, cool. One big bounding box. Yeah, so I don't meet people because I'm not motivated to meet people, which means... Yeah, it just... I lose interest because I just get less social throughout the game. And like keeping them though, that requires being social. Yeah, true. It's the meeting people and then remaining social afterwards. I think it's fair enough to tell a person that once you've met some people, you have to upkeep being social, otherwise you will lose that socialness. right? I think that's fair enough. Unless you get like rewards for having people on your friend list, but that could also be gamified real quick. I would rather have it to be actually personally meaningful or socially meaningful. And yeah, I have the Lalafell buff debuff, so I have been invited to Lala only weddings and done duties with random Lalas. Interesting. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's I think it's a sad state of affairs, because I think that's the thing that's mainly missing, is I'm not being forced to be social, so I am not social. And I don't think that it is it's the weird thing of like, you could argue, oh, then you're playing the game wrong. But like, the game is designed wrong if it doesn't at least try to force me to play the game in a way that that expands or supports me wanting to stay in the game, right? It lagging. Oh, beautiful. No, it stopped lagging. Oh yeah, I'm seeing it lag. Okay, hold on. I'm writing down the time. $20.54. Alrighty. Well, I guess we'll continue a little bit. It is a travesty. A travesty. I remember the keep being so beautiful in the light of the setting sun. One would swear it was aflame. It is indeed a doleful spectacle. Mayhap we will rebuild it one day, when we have finished helping our people to rebuild their lives. Spoken like a true popularis. The needs of the people must of course come first. Speaking of whom, would you be opposed to me seeing how they live firsthand? The village of Namai is but a short journey from here, if I'm not mistaken. By river, yes. If you will follow me, I will ready our boat. Try to emote at people from time to time. A guy I knew had a very high level on Steam and hunted other high level Steam people to be on their friend list. Yeah, but that's kind of gross, I think. That can then lead to small talk and friend requests. Yeah, I get you. Nico also mentioned once he had a proper good experience. He had a proper good experience with just like doing some jumping puzzles, and then he asked, "Hey, how do you do that jumping puzzle?" And then he got talking to someone and then invited to their guild. And now he left the guild because our guild is better. Yeah. It's, apropos that word, it is a travesty. If what I really want is to meet more people, I know it is possible to just go up and strike up a conversation. But this game, right, it's made by Japanese people. They must have the same attitude that I do. Don't talk to strangers unless there's a really good reason for it. So you would think that interactions in the game would be sort of forced if it's a multiplayer game, such that you actually spoke with people. But there is a big gap between being in a friend list and actually interacting repeatedly. Yes. And what is missing is a real interaction there. Because there is I recommend everyone look it up. It's like it was released this year, I believe. Someone tried vanilla, like World of Warcraft vanilla for the first time. And he had the quests in vanilla us, like, sometimes, because they're not always level appropriate, sometimes you just get your ass beat. But that is oftentimes an opportunity to meet other players who are doing the same quest as you. And if the quest is too hard, then you team up, and then you can have positive play experiences that way. I always tell people to write if they need or want someone to fill in, but they never do. No, exactly. Because then, yeah. Because it's like, how do you say? It's a social friction that can be avoided, right? So it's the same as the hallway, the hallway problem. If there is friction, but there is a way to go around the friction, people usually tend to go around the friction, if at all possible. And that's where the issue, therein is where the issue lies. So you need to force people to go through some amount of friction in order to have these positive experiences. Otherwise, people will take the path of least resistance. It should also be clarified that I don't reach out either. No, of course. But therein still lies the issue. Neither you nor your friends are reaching out to each other, right? And there has to be like some reason where you need to, apropos, look at this motherfucker. It's, and then just disappears. Absolutely does not match the vibe. No, but like, it's because both you and they have easier alternatives than contacting people in their friends list. Imagine instead that you, in order to go through certain dungeons, you had to contact people on your friends list. Like, you make it a proper requirement for the type of interaction that you want. I mean, it sounds rough, but like, you sort of have to, like, a designer has to force the kind of interaction with the system that they want. Otherwise, it's too freeform. That is almost already a thing. Blue Mage stuff is rough. What do you mean? I haven't played Blue Mage. To everyone else who may not know Final Fantasy XIV, Blue Mage is something called a limited class. It is here, or a limited job. I only know the basics, and I've just unlocked it, but I haven't actually played it. They are supposed to be playing the game single player, and they can't go into dungeons. But they learn the spells of enemies they beat, which is a cool concept. So they get stronger the more they play, essentially. You have to find a party of blue mages at a high enough level to do the content I'm at. Interesting. Interesting. That is actually like a restriction where you have to, if you want to play a blue mage, you have to go out of your way to try and find other blue mages. Maybe that friction is a little high, but nevertheless, it is still like, once you find, you can't progress without being social. Yeah, exactly. So once you find another blue mage at around your level, you're like, instant invite. Hello, I need your help. I need your assistance. Because I cannot get through this game without your help. And the other blue mage is likely in the exact same boat, or they have been in the exact same boat. So they will be more willing to help you. And then there's like, there's like a way to do some small talk. In my case, it's too high. Yeah, the friction, like, striking a balance in friction is difficult. Because you don't want it to become actually impossible. Like, it's not like, okay, imagine this. I'm painting you a picture. In this hypothetical MMO, you have, when you log in, another active player is identified as your soulmate. And the only way to progress is to find your soulmate and then party up with that soulmate and then travel through some amount of dungeons together with that person. That is a lot of friction. But it would definitely create that forced interaction. Because you have to find that person. You have to find your soulmate in order to play with them. I actually kind of like this idea now. Ooh, imagine that. Like, imagine for Valentine's, you just partied up with like some random person also on the server. Would be crazy. Yeah, it would be crazy. It would be kind of nuts, but it would be kind of neat, no? Like, so you log in and you're like, oh, look at this in the mail. This person, you have now been auto-sent a friend invite to that person. Last online 7 years ago. Yeah. That would also suck. But that's why it's gotta be an active player. Someone who plays around the same times you do would probably be, yeah. There's a lot of reasons why this wouldn't work that well, you know? And it would be really difficult to implement properly. But dang, guys. Imagine if that could work, though. That would be kinda neat, no? Anyway, Asahi. Ready to cast off? Proceed. It feels like a motorboat, this.
Get back! I'm warning you!
Gasp!
Someone's in trouble.
Oh wait, it's the girl with the flowers. And the rats.
Right?
I said the rats.
Hi.
Hi, Isa!
What do they want with you?
Yuki. And you lot too. I don't know. We were returning from the Enclave when they came at us.
It seems they won't go quietly.
And neither will we.
Go! Well, I turned down the music. If it changes with each login, people would just game it by logging in repeatedly to get someone famous. What do you mean, someone famous? I don't think I understand or fully comprehend. And even if, like, if that would be a reason for someone to try and play it, remember the famous person will only be able to get one, they would only be able to get one soulmate. And that might as well, with the amount of people currently playing the game, it might as well be,
Leave this to me.
like, it could be anyone, is what I'm trying to say. Hold on, I have to use my focus to, like, press the simplest buttons. AoEs. I love AoEs. This game is so mentally challenging. Let me just walk over and do some AoEs. Let me pop this. Oh, I have a thing on me. Maybe I should pop another one. Yeah, so I don't think the issue with like would be repeatedly logging in and out. I'm not gonna lie. Even though it could change with each login, but I mean, I think the worst part would probably be if someone is like, wow, I don't want to be paired up with this loser. Let me just log out. That would be like getting dumped. Which is a little extreme, you know. But could definitely happen. So we would want to, in this hypothetical system, we would want to discourage that kind of behavior. And I'm... Again, it's probably not the best kind of system, but it would be kind of neat, is all I'm trying to say. And then it's some designers' poor designer's job to figure out how to make that work. I'm just gonna use AoE on this. I don't want to be shiny. Yeah, but people are already hunting down streamers by grouping and queuing at the same time. Yeah, I getcha. But they're doing it in... Like, that is way more plausible, I suppose. And there are ways for the streamer to, like, protect themselves. Such as by not announcing when they're logging in. And then starting the stream. Shut up, Asahi. And then starting the stream a little later. Or announcing, I'm going to be playing the game on this particular day. And sure, some people would be weird enough to try it. But say for a streamer who has, I don't know, 3 million followers, like some crazy example. And then assume 1%, no, way less than that. 1/1000th are willing to, like, go through this login shenanigans. Then, interesting. Yeah, it would be a neat system if a game was designed around it from the ground up. I don't think it has to be designed, like the game does not have to be designed around it from the ground up. I think you could make it as a subsystem in an MMO. But it would be... Yeah. Yeah. It has to be a central system. Not sure what I mean. What do you mean about it being a central system? But you can make it opt-in. Yeah, yes. Like, it can be like optional content, right? So you can sign up, you can walk up to a place and be like, hello, I am looking for my current marriage partner to take me through this dungeon. And then you have to find the right person. And then maybe you don't want to be verbal, and then there's like, you can just walk up to someone and then jump in place. Yeah. If it's not central, people with social fears would avoid it. Okay. Yeah. Maybe. As in the location should be central. It should be a place where people are, like, motivated to go for other reasons. But I feel like if people are afraid of social interactions in an MMO and to that extent wouldn't perhaps not even go to cities. No, as into the game. I don't know what you mean, I'm sorry. it has to be a central system that you can make opt-in, and not central with social fears would avoid it. No, as into the game. I think if the soulmate system is part of the game's gimmick, it would have to be clearer marketing. A lot of people would hate having such an integral part of the game be opt-in, and they would be disappointed. You're assuming that I want to make it an integral part of the game. It could be like for a Valentine's event, in order to get this very pretty dress, you have to find a soulmate. And in order to find your soulmate, then you are given their name, and then within a large area you have to try and find them, for example. It's like a social paywall. Yes, that's why I'm saying it probably shouldn't be a central thing that you're locked out of, but an optional thing. That is why it's opt-in. I think it has to be integral, otherwise people will ignore it. I don't think that is the case, because if the incentive is good enough, then the people who are interested in that incentive are willing to go through the friction, because the only way to get the thing that you're looking for is by going through this friction. Sure, that friction will be too much for some people, but that's okay. That's why the system is there as an opt-in. So you can get the pretty dress only if you opt into the system. But then you are locked out of it by, this social paywall. I get you, but it has to not be a one-off thing. So you're arguing that it shouldn't be just this one dress, and then once you've gotten the dress, there's no reason for you to return. I agree. It could be like the... what's it called? Like the deep dungeons. Some people avoid the deep dungeons. They don't like the design of it. They don't like to go through it, to level up, to pick up all of this stuff, to essentially play for 4 hours before it becomes difficult, right? So some people avoid deep dungeons. That's fair enough. It's not for everyone. If the incentive is in-game rewards, it's essentially a paywall. If it is a gimmick, it appeals to the friends club mentality. I'm not sure I quite understand what you mean or where your stances are on that, Tekopban. If the incentive is in-game rewards, it is essentially a paywall. It is a social paywall for some type of in-game reward, but in-game rewards can mean many things. Like, it can be a sword that makes you stronger. Sure, that is an in-game reward, but some hat that looks cool is also an in-game reward. And then it does act like a social paywall. I'm not trying to argue that it doesn't. It is a form of exclusion to some people. But in a game, you cannot make a system where you just include everyone. Because some people in a game such as Final Fantasy XIV that is so big as it is, that has so many systems that it does, that has events with exclusive items, there are some stuff that does not appeal to everyone. And not everyone will do everything in the game, and that is fine. That is fine. I'm just arguing. You could have these sets of systems that force some social interaction that not everyone will engage with. I think if I found the rewards to be worth it, I would definitely engage with it, because I'm not necessarily afraid of interacting with other people. My issue with interacting with other people is that I don't have any real reason to interact with people, and then the reward I gain out of it is like maybe a positive experience, but that positive experience doesn't lead to anything, right? Okay, back to what you wrote, Adam. I really want people to have some variant dungeons with people. They have cool mechanics, but only a few somewhat grindy rewards. But I think they are good. I'm sorry, I again don't quite understand what you're saying. Want some variant dungeons with people. They have cool mechanics, but only a few, like this. So I assume you are asking or portraying some dungeon that does not exist. Oh, you haven't gotten to those yet. Okay, so there are some dungeons with cool mechanics. Some variant want to do variant dungeons with people. But so these are dungeons where you can't play with people? I don't quite understand. Or is it because it's late game and you don't have enough friends that are late game that you can actually play with them? That could of course also be an explanation for what you wrote. But I think I need a little more context in order to fully understand what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah, there certainly, I think, needs to be some kind of forced interaction or more forced interaction in this game to meet more people, at least for someone who plays in the way that I do. It's at level 80 or 90, and people in our friend group don't really care for dungeons. Sorry? But don't we play dungeons often? I mean, I feel the same about deep dungeons. I think deep dungeons are quite neat. But people aren't that interested in deep dungeons. Yeah. Seems to be the last of them. Right. This is where we're at in the story.
You have nothing to fear, child. You are safe now.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, Tekopine, I think you're misunderstanding. But the social interaction is the gimmick of the game, like Peak. The player is mentally in a space of socializing. I mean, okay, first off, I will have to say that I do disagree. On the design of Peak. Peak is not necessarily about socializing. It can be. It's sad that we're doing this during this cutscene. No. This is the perfect cutscene. I'm sure of it. I don't care about for dungeons. Yeah, but not optional dungeons. Yeah, but not optional dungeons. Sorry, I really don't understand what it is you're trying to imply. It's yeah, about player expectation. It's mostly single player being forced to do multiplayer leaves a bad taste. But what I'm arguing, Tekopine, is not for us to make a system that... Okay, so in Final Fantasy XIV, in order to progress through the video game, there's only one real must. There's only one thing you are forced to do. And that is playing the MSQ, the main story quest, which is a single player experience. I find this design to be really strange in an MMORPG. In the first expansion and in the vanilla game, you are forced to go through dungeons, and you go through those with other players. Otherwise, you're not forced to be social at any point during the time that you play through the main story quest. What I am arguing for is a system that requires you to be social in order to get some upgrade or some nice hat, cosmetic or otherwise. It could be tokens that you can use to buy better gear, but it's not necessary in order to play the main story quest. but it is something that you can choose to play in order to get a better or different, I should say different, not necessarily better, experience. So in that way, you are forced to do something if you want a particular reward. That is game design 101. It is the case for just about every video game in which you have a character that changes. You have to do something in order to get that something. And you could call that a social paywall if you have to be social in order to get it. You can call it a mechanical paywall if you need to beat an enemy in order to do it. And you could call it a brain paywall if you need to get through a puzzle for it. There is nothing that is inherently bad by creating an obstacle that the player has to overcome in order to get the thing they want. That is literally how video games are designed. So on that end, on that front, I do agree that it is always about managing player expectations, but it is weird to criticize an optional thing in some regard, because the optional it just means that you're not interested in it enough. But a great example is in World of Warcraft, the first expansion. You had to progress through multiple 40-man raids in order to get something called the Glaives of Aseroth, I believe. Those were Illidan's weapons. And they had a rare drop rate, a low drop rate. But other than having pretty good stats and looking fly as hell, there wasn't really a reason to get them. You feel me? That is World of Warcraft in a nutshell. World of Warcraft's biggest issue and positive is that there was no reason to do anything, because it was all about your adventure and the things you experienced throughout that video game. Where something like Final Fantasy there's definitely a targeted storyline that they want you to go through. There is in modern World of Warcraft, of course. And that is both the greatest positive and the greatest negative of Final Fantasy XIV that I have found. It is that you have to go through this storyline. You have to go through all of the troughs and all of the trenches. Which, per my understanding, means that when you meet someone or talk to someone that has gone through the same experience that you have in the storyline, you will have an immediate connection. And that, I think, is the real worthwhile experience, right? Because you all have that shared trauma, I suppose, that you have gone through. You all understand what the other one has been through. But it's too bad that I haven't seen a system, I haven't seen a method in which that I can communicate with people about the story and where I am in the story. So, if there was a hub for people who were at the same point in the story that I was, where I could discuss the story with them, maybe that would be interesting. Yeah. Because I agree. I think if there was a part of the main story quest where you had to find your soulmate, like this weird, you had to travel into the world and find another player currently active, currently online, and then in voice chat be like, hey, I need you for this quest. I get why that would be super annoying. It would be interesting for me right in this moment, because I would be like, oh, I just talked about this. But most people don't go into this video game with that expectation. So of course they would find that annoying. But if it's for an optional event where you get like a new parasol, man, just don't go for the parasol if you don't want to talk to people. It's not that difficult. It's the same with like the optional gear that you get from deep dungeons. You can go through the deep dungeons and then you can get all of this cool gear. You can trade this gear for other gear. And that's really cool and real neat. But if you don't want the gear enough to go through the deep dungeon, then you don't get the gear. And I think that's a fair trade-off. Anyway, apparently this asterisk cutscene is really important. So I will get through 3 to 4 additional voice lines before I think of something new to say. Alright? Deal?
You saved us again. Thank you. If you're ever passing by our village, look us up. You'll always be welcome.
Oh, he has a nice little pouch here. A wallet.
Thank goodness we arrived when we did.
Indeed. But what could have prompted the Red Kojin to stray so far from the Ruby Sea?
I presume these are the sellswords hired by Yotsu. If so, the answer is simple. Desperation. Bereft of imperial employment, they seek other means to line their coin purses. Another sad legacy of the Empire's mismanagement.
True, that's what happens with
The
mercenaries.
empire to which you have sworn allegiance.
Mercenaries when you stop paying them. This is historical.
Must you always be so pointed? If we are to bring about lasting change, we must look beyond narrow allegiances. You have every right to doubt me, but in time, I hope you will come to see that we share a common goal. You and yours have fought fiercely to change the Empire from without, but if we are to end the cycle of conflict, the Empire must change from within. Am I wrong?
I mean, the Empire is an institution, of course it can change. But it can also change from without. You will be heading out? What? I can't believe you would just leave me like this. Alone. I could believe it. You are a traitor. Goodbye. Talk to you later time. Bye-bye.
I knew you would understand. You have witnessed such change firsthand, after all, during your time in Ishgard.
Adam, we both know that you are just you're just an alternative account. You are my alt. That's why I'm so distracted all of the time. Okay, so I truly don't understand why that cutscene was important. It felt very much like any other cutscene, not gonna lie. Oh shit, I am your alt. Yeah. I mean, you are the higher level. Dear me, I had hoped to convey my views on our nation's shared hopes under more peaceable circumstances. It was voice that makes it important. I mean, nah. I mean, even though it's voiced, there are cutscenes that are voiced that are unimportant. Yet this regrettable little interlude did afford me a chance to see the famed hero of Eorzea in action. And few Imperial soldiers can say that, at least few who lived to tell the tale. Well, after that little ordeal, I believe it may be time for us to return to the Enclave. Return, my lord? But what of Namai? You seemed so eager to observe the villagers going about their daily lives. To be frank, I still am. But I would rather doubt the good people of Namai would take kindly to the sight of a man in imperial uniform with blood still dripping from his blade. Even in your company, my presence would only prove a distraction. Fret not, however. Thanks to the three of you, I have seen a great deal more than I otherwise would, and with any luck, Lord Hien will have finished considering my proposal by the time we return. I mean, okay, crazy take, right? He's so smart. What, Asahi? Or me? I think it's me that's smart. I think you're just praising me because I'm so smart. Okay, so here's my thoughts, right? We should get Yotsuyu so he can speak to her. Right? Because then he can get to see that she's in a strange state. She's in a strange... Wait, what did I say he's? Yeah, so that Asahi can see that Yotsuyu is in a strange state. Of course, that would kind of tip our hand that he knows that we have Yotsuyu, but we might not be willing to give her over. You said she. Yes. But in what context? Did I say she in the right context? Or did I say Jinping? Ah, that's a little All are free to travel in and out of the Enclave. Do you seek passage? Yes. In the correct context. I don't like how you wrote correct in, like, with citations. In the correct wink context. Yeah, I don't know what to trust. Certainly. I know not to trust you. Oh, look. Wood. Wood in the yard. Wait. An independent mender. Might as well. I didn't know how wrecked it was. Luckily, not very. You should always trust wink me. Thank you again for agreeing to join me. If not for your aid, the Kojin may well have overwhelmed us. That's Yugiri talking. Pray go on ahead. Lord Hien is expecting you. I will remain without and keep watch over our guest. Well, we had best not keep him waiting. Gingan Gutsman. You are expected, my lady. Hello, Hien. Oh, Hien. Welcome back, my friend. Yugiri tells me you accompanied her and Asahi on a tour of Yangsha. I had hoped you might take the opportunity to recover from your exertions as Sakatsuki. But I gather your time was well spent. Under the ambassador affords Yugiri a chance to make a full report. However, I must rely on you to supply the details, so please, tell us how it all unfolded. The Red Kojin here? Have they been on any such incidents since liberation? Not that I can't read right now, holy shit. Not that I am aware of. If they are planning some new venture here in Yangsha, we will need to increase patrols. In any event, I am indebted to you for fighting them off, but tell me, and don't be modest, was Asahi truly the first to leap into the youngster's aid? He was, and I was quick to doubt him when we first met, but his desire to save them seemed quite genuine. His name is Brutus. He is going to betray us. It's possible he truly believes what he is saying. In the time that I have known you have always been an excellent judge of the character. What do you make of the ambassador? Oh, non-verbal. He confounds you too, I see. And for that reason alone, we would be fools to underestimate him. Regardless of his aim, I am resigned to play his game for now at least. Well, forswearing, summoning should be simple enough considering you never dabbled in it in the first place, which just leaves the somewhat thornier questions of how to police the Red Courtian. It was with that very question in mind that I sought Alphinaud's counsel. Thanks to his knowledge of the icons and the rituals used to invoke them, I believe we have identified a workable solution. As you will recall, Susano was summoned forth using the power of relics locked away in the Courtier's treasure vault on the Isle of Seki. Though said relics remain there to this day, it is all but certain that the act of summoning exhausted their stores of ether, making subsequent summonings impossible. Assuming that is the case, preventing the Primal's return rests on denying the Red Courtians the means to amass new stores of ether, either via the acquisition of crystals or the relics they are wont to collect, right? But this I plan to enlist the aid of our friends the Blue Courtian, since red versus blue. How does it go, like? Do you ever wonder why we're here? Since Doma's liberation, we have forged closer bonds with Bunchen and his people, and with their support, I am quite confident that we can keep the Red from obtaining what they require to call upon this Susan. And what of the prisoners? They will be exchanged as agreed, and I will give full credit to Asahi for the success of the transaction. If there is aught we can do to help the populares garner favor, I mean to see it done. But first, I have some unfinished business to attend to. Would you all come with me? Yes, of course. But what manner of business? A past mistake which I would see put right. One which has weighed heavy on my mind. Oh my god, why is it so hot? It's almost bedtime. I'm sweating. Oh, my ass. Oh no, I've been sitting wrong.
I had her brought here in secret while the three of you kept
Shut
our
up.
guest company.
Ooh. Oh my goodness. I've been sitting cross-legged for 3 hours. Holy damn.
The world has not been kind to you, it is true. But that does not excuse your sins. You should be at the bottom of the river. Yet here you are, the living, breathing proof of my failure. A failure for which I would now make amends.
What did I do? I don't remember. Was it really so terrible? Tell me, please. What did I do?
You speak of sins, my lord. But at whose feet do those sins lie? With the soldiers who committed the crimes, or those who commanded them to do so? With both, I would say. For all have a conscience, and all must choose. But with no memory of who she is, or what she has done, what sin remains to be cleansed?
You ask that I show mercy.
I ask why the heavens saw fit to deny me my rest.
Okay, so thoughts on this. Yotsuyu is dead, some could say. Because what remains of her mind is not hers. Assuming that a human being is defined by their experiences and their memories, then Yotsuyo is no longer actually Yotsuyo. And therefore, she is not to be punished for what she has done. I find this line of reasoning and the particular debate that they're currently in slightly ridiculous to some extent. But that's also because of the brought upon by amnesia. This is again why I think Fodola's storyline is more interesting, because she is still the same person who did all of the heinous things. Now she has just come to a point in her life, in her realization, where she regrets it. And that can start a redemption arc. And redemption arcs are amazing, as long as you don't shortcut them. And this is essentially a shortcutted redemption arc. None of this has anything to do about Yotsuyo. Yotsuyo is completely out of the picture. This is about how Hien sees Yotsuyo, which I think is less interesting of a proposition. But it is still cool. It just shouldn't be framed, I think, as anything but that. Those are my thoughts.
Why, Yotsuyu was spared not only death, but the bitter memories of her life.
You truly think it the will of the Kami? If so, her life is not mine to take. It is yours to safeguard.
Yeah, on that, I also mentioned it's very interesting about like what is the moral decision, because currently Yotsuyo doesn't exist. She is an innocent person. So handing her over to the Empire so she can answer for sins that she did not commit, right? That is immoral. But is it so immoral that you wouldn't do it for the state to continue existing? What are you willing to sacrifice? That is an interesting question. But to put all the onus on Gosetsu, I think that is fair, because he is the one arguing that this is no longer Yotsuyo. That Tsuyu is as innocent as a human being, has a pure soul and no sins to be cleansed.
Come the hour of the exchange, if her memories have not returned, she may remain here in Doma to live out her days as Tsuyu. But if they do, the Guardians shall have their viceroy. Though the people will protest, they will come to accept my decision when they have been reunited with their loved ones.
Thank you, my lord.
Now then, I believe we have kept our guest waiting long enough. Did Gosetsu not seem strange to you?
Okay. I have a prediction. And I will not be disappointed whether this comes to pass or does not, because it is a random shot in the dark out of nowhere. But I think what is going to happen is Yotsuyo and Asahi come face to face. And Asahi is not willing to do the prisoner exchange if they do not get Yotsuyo. But Yotsuyo has not regained her memories, so therefore Lord Hien has a hand over her, like he protects her. But then she's like, no, I was evil all along, and I have all of my memories. Ha ha, you suck. And then Asahi is like, well, there you go, we'll take her. And Lord Hien can no longer protect her. And then it turns out, she was lying. She was lying the whole time. She has not regained her memories. But she is now a good person who is willing to sacrifice herself in order to make sure Doma is safe. And that way we can have a happy ending without any moral implications that are really difficult to work with. Because why would you want to work with something that is difficult? No, 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 no. We need an easy solution where nobody dies and they keep coming back from the dead.
His sympathy for Yotsuyu apart, I mean. I know his powers of endurance only too well, but after all he has suffered, even he should not be on his feet. He puts on a brave face for our sakes, but it would not surprise me if he lacked the strength to raise his blade.
He can't keep guessing the wrong things in the plot like this. It is completely unacceptable.
Though I suppose if he and Yotsuyu are to enjoy a life of peace and quiet, he will have little use for it.
He can't keep getting away with this.
It falls to us to shape that future, one in which he need never again set foot on the battlefield.
Alright. I think we'll go for one more quest and then call it quits. Ooh, ooh, ooh. With Yotsuyu safely in Gosetsu's care, all that remains is to answer Asahi's proposal. I realize other matters demand your attention, but I would ask that you stay a while longer to see this business through.
My apologies. Our deliberations took longer than expected.
Think nothing of it. The time afforded me the opportunity to go on a rather rousing excursion through Yansha. You have reached a decision then?
We are willing to cooperate with you in combating the Icon threat, and also in the exchange of prisoners. Assuming you accept our conditions, of course. As you know, your sister is in our care. Due to certain complications, however, we are hesitant to release her into your custody.
Complications?
She was inside Doma Castle when it collapsed. Though she survived, she remembers nothing of her past life, not even her name. To clarify, she is in our care not as a prisoner, but as a vulnerable citizen of Doma.
Are you saying you refuse to release her?
Not at all. If her memory returns before the appointed hour.
And if not, what exactly? You will accommodate her here in Doma?
Well, I sincerely doubt she will be of any great strategic value to the Empire. She spends her days daydreaming of Dango.
Dango? How dreadful.
Yeah, it doesn't taste that good.
Very well. In light of our recent misstep in Sakazuki, It seems only fair that I show you the same understanding you have shown us. Though I do have one small request. Regardless of Yotsuyu's value to the Empire, she is yet my sister. Before I leave, might you permit me to speak with her in private?
Oh, she's brutal. She's gonna stab her
Of course.
57 times.
Perhaps you could even bring her a plate of dango. She would be most pleased.
No, stop. Stop.
Yogiri will see you to her chambers.
No. No, don't let Brutus go to... No, what are you doing? It's like watching a horror movie. What the fuck? Forgive me, my lord, but has he not been gone over long? Perhaps I should... Calm yourself, Go-Setsu. I understand your concern, but we have to wait. He deserves that much. I am sorry to have kept you all waiting. Thank you for your understanding. Long did I dream of this reunion, but never did I imagine it would be so joyless. A part of me hoped your stories of her conditions were just that, but alas. It is as you say, and the music swells, and I have to turn it down. Do you remember anything of this man? Anything at all? No. I am a stranger to her, that much was clear for me from a single look. I leave her in your care. As you wish. Now, if you will excuse me, my superiors are long overdue a report. They will be elated to hear of our agreement. Of that I have no doubt. As for the exchange itself, once I have obtained the relevant permissions, I will arrange for your people to be relieved of their various duties and sent here to Yangsha. This will take time, of course. Of course, you may rest assured your soldiers will be well cared for until your return. I will also begin taking steps for better counter the threat of the Kojin and their icon. Before you take your leave, there is one other matter. I am informed it was you who took the lead in rescuing 2 young Domans from a band of Kojin sellswords. I have not yet had the time to thank you properly. Please, there is no need to thank me. I only did what anyone would under the circumstances. Fortunately, I was in good company at the time. The blight of the Red Kojin is of the Empire's making. Were it not for our transgressions, those children would not have needed saving. The people of Doma have suffered enough, my lord, and I promise to all in my power to share them further pain. Yeah, someone stab these shits. To spare them further pain, be it at the hands of the Kojin or indeed the Empire. I pray the Emperor will see things as you do. There may be hope for us all. Until we meet again. He's so small. Such a tiny boy. A little man. Gosetsu, as before, I leave Yotsuyu to you. He just Asian. Man, this Chinese guy is so small. I invite the rest of you to join me outside. Let's treat Asahi to a proper farewell. I'm not going to say I was wrong just yet. Plus you big. No. I'm not big, I'm average. Yeah, so I'm not saying I was wrong and my call out is incorrect and I'm in fact stupid. However, I will say it hasn't happened yet. The ambassador's airship awaits us Castrum Fluminis. Let us be off. I thought that was him spawning right for a moment.
I wish you a safe journey.
This has been a most enjoyable visit. I look forward to our next meeting. Maxima, would you take the others and see that all is ready for our departure? I simply cannot leave without first giving thanks to the Warrior of Light for accompanying me through Yansha.
I have to ask. My brain just short-circuited. Was that guy's name Maxima? You can't name your boy Maxima. That's like a surefire way of getting bullied in school. Because it's the female version of Maximus. Which is the male version of Maxima. It was Maximus, okay. At least I think it is. Oh, I don't know Latin.
Mark me, savior of the savages. There will be a reckoning.
Oh no. Oh no. And I won't be able to tell because I'm non-verbal. I can't tell the others about his betrayal. Oh, because he looks down and then he looks up, but in order to look up, he looks further down.
Left to run, traitor.
Yeah, I get that would be fun as a ladder.
Ignorant savages! Killing us will avail you naught. For every Imperial you cut down, 1,000 more will come. Abandon this foolish endeavor and surrender. You may yet serve our righteous cause.
Sat down on one knee? Okay.
How dare you speak of righteousness? You who forsook kith and kin to serve conquerors! Be glad I grant you this mercy.
Oh no, what a powerful fart.
What in the...
Yeah, this is why I also kneel to when I talk to other people.
No, just one! Cut him down!
Wait a second, that's not Xenos at all. Wait, is it Xenos? I forgot how he looks with his mask on. He has the long locks. The long blonde locks.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
This one is promising. Who remains to offer us resistance?
host of rebels led by Lord Cayenne hold the Enclave across the river.
Lord Cayenne.
Yeah, a simple man. I mean, in some ways, I feel a kinship to Xenos. It's like, yeah, sure, I saved a bunch of people, whatever, but look at this cool rock I found. Sorry, this cool sword that I just found.
The king of the former king of Dorma, sir. They say he is one of the greatest swordsmen alive.
Is that what they say?
Who was that?
Surely you jest. That was Xenos Galvus, legatus of the 12th, the Crown Bloody Prince. I heard he was strong, but that was frightening.
That was Lord Xenos.
Damn, this guy is like, oh my god, my hero. Oh, so he's mad that I killed him. Well, you know, he should just have been stronger. He died how he lived.
Everything you are,
Fighting.
your power, even your face, it vexes me.
Yeah, but it's like with Steve Irwin, right? If you found the manta ray that killed him, you wouldn't be like, I'm gonna kill that little shite. You would be like, damn, you got him. That was pretty cool. He went the way that he lived. Like anyone who ever saw a documentary with Steve Irwin was like, damn, I wonder when this guy's getting killed. So when I heard like he died to the manta ray, I was like, of course it was sad, but also like, yeah, he kind of asked for it. It's how he lived. It's how Xenos lived. At some point he would just find someone stronger than him.
Go on. Lash out like the beast you are. At an emissary. And jeopardize the newfound peace between Dorma and the Empire.
Why would I lash out at you? Like, you've just been like, hey, you're a fucking asshole. And I should be like, okay, I guess. Get on your damn airship.
My lord was destined to lead us unto a glorious new age. Your light is nothing to his radiance.
Thumbs up, dude, whatever you say. Mr. Brutus.
I will cherish this moment. Lock it away within my heart. Until the day we meet again.
Alright, how about you fix the anti-aliasing on your fucking coat, on your, what is this called again? Collar? Yeah. Yeah, got him. Yeah, ha. Yeah, walk away, man. Ha. God, if I knew words, he would have been so owned. Yeah, run away, you pussy. Yeah, I burned him so hard that he lost his head. Just like Xenos. Oh! Man, it really looks like a ship from Halo. And then it changes course and then flies to us and then bombs us. Nope, it flies away. To the west, to the west. Alright. I think that is going to be that. We got a proper ending to this little storyline. It feels like we are maybe halfway through the second bit of so like we're at Stormblood patch point of the and it's 2 and then 3, then it's 4.2.5. Yes, that's where I think we're at. And with that, oh, you're checking. Yeah. I can hang about for a little bit while you're checking. Wait, they flew. Wait, they flew in that direction. What the fuck? Wait, what did the actual... Where did they fly to? Is it because it's difficult to fly over these mountains? So they flew through, like, this in order to get to the Empire? Is that Godzilla? No, it's just a tall guy with long hair. Alright. I'm missing one quest. Okay, so I'm like 4.2.11 or something. Man, okay, I'm vexed. I'm flummoxed. Why did they fly southward? Like, oh well. Let us take it next time. What? Discussing why they flew southward? Sorry, I'm completely stunlocked. What the fuck? Okay, I'm assuming the only way I can reconcile this is the idea is they flew this way in order to fly over this area, which I haven't seen yet, and then up here and then into Gallian territory. Or maybe southward around the mountains here, because I imagine this could also be Gallian territory. Yeah, if this is Gallian territory, this down here, then it makes sense. Because otherwise, like flying north, I guess there are a bunch of Mongolians and big flying hawks that you would want to avoid. Because otherwise, assuming this is a globe, flying north would definitely have been the fastest route. Anyway, my feet are wet. There we go. Okay. And that's it. That's it for this time. I think it's logout time. Yeah. What do you have to say for yourself? Okay, so... yeah, he was not named Brutus for nothing. He was gonna stab someone in the back at some point. He was gonna be like what he didn't seem like what he was, that he was being, and that what was. Good night. And sleep tight. And don't let the bed bugs bite. And have a safe flight. And go fly a kite. If you see a mite, don't have a fright. But instead, enjoy it as a delight. And with all of my might, I will give you the light. I will turn off the light, rather. And get out of your sight. So, bye-bye. And I have run out of rhymes. So I will just quickly panic and stop all of my streaming